Hey everybody, and welcome back to another FBS conference logo ranking, where today we are looking at the MAC, or the Mid-American Conference. And the timing on this video could not have been any better, because just the other day, UMass, or the University of Massachusetts, announced that they would be transitioning from an FBS independence into joining the MAC conference, which is pretty exciting. I mean, UMass football has not been great in recent years, but I feel like they could never get stronger as an independent. They really needed to join a conference to kind of create some stability, to create some rivalry, and to get some consistent competition going. And the MAC, yes, it's not a powerhouse conference by any stretch, but I mean, there are some good quality teams within the MAC, and more importantly, there's some teams with some pretty great logos. So I'm really excited to get into this and go over. Now we're going to have 13 teams in the MAC starting in 2025 when UMass is set to join. So we're going to talk about all 13 primary logos here, as always going from worst to first, which today is going to give us Eastern Michigan University, home of the Eagles. This has got to be one of the most bare bones logos that we've talked about on this channel. Like, I'm not mad at it, but I mean, really, it's not giving us anything other than just like a giant green E. Nice colors on there. I mean, these are the colors of the team is green and white. Big E for Eastern, sure. I mean, it just does exactly what it needs to do. Nothing more and nothing less. It's just really not exciting in any way. Previously, they would actually kind of lean into their mascot, and you can give it a little bit of personality and kind of let us know like what school we're actually looking at. But yeah, in 2013, they decided to just double down and go with this big green E that they used for a year in 2002. And man, it just really does not give us anything interesting to look at. Big E for Eastern, gotta be one of the most boring logos in college athletics. At number 12, let's go ahead and focus on the University of Massachusetts. We just talked about him a minute ago. This is the home of the Minutemen, which is one of the coolest names in college athletics. Kind of gives this cool, like, revolutionary colonial vibe to it. And they used to use that in their marketing for their logo back in the early to mid 2000s before they switched to this giant U with this mass for Massachusetts kind of layered over the front. And it's, you know, it's pretty effective for what it is. I don't mind it. You know, that layered look is pretty nice, and the colors on this are pretty decent as well. But this is a very font heavy, very text heavy logo, and the font itself is just not particularly interesting or exciting. And I would just love to see a little bit more emphasis put on the actual Minuteman or the Minutemen name into this logo, because really all that's jumping out at me is just the word ass. So you have this giant U, this medium-sized M, and then this small ass. I just can't not see it when I look at this. And I mean, UMass, you're better than that. You're not UAss, you're UMass. Like, fix this, make it better. Come on, by the time you join in 2025, I hope to see a better logo here. At number 11, let's go to Western Michigan, who I would say up until recent years was kind of having like a bit of an identity crisis in terms of their look, their coloring. They actually had like 7 different primary colors, and in 2021 they completely revamped their identity and their branding, and then just stripped it down to 2 primary colors with brown and gold, which I like that. You know, I like the kind of narrowing down and making more of a consistency on the colors. But what we're left with this primary logo, like this W, I'm sorry, but this is kind of a stinker for me.
Now, our W logo has been part of our heritage for nearly all of Western's history. While its basic shape has remained nearly constant, it has evolved with the times. And now it's time to evolve again. This updated mark that has both of our official colors allows for consistent use of our brand, even when applied to a variety of photography and background color.
In Kalamazoo, the Bronco Ghost is officially toast.
It's like, yeah, well, we're just going to kill that off, and then here's a circle W for you. It's like, what is going on?
What's happening, whether Blackmore likes it or not, is the start of a new era here at Western Michigan. Recently, the school spent almost $700,000 on an image revamp.
They had some legitimately cool designs with that Bronco, and then even with this W for Western Michigan. Like, they've used some cool stuff, and so I like that they've eased up on the coloring and kind of made that more consistent. And it's not bad, but it just loses so much of the personality and the things that made Western Michigan unique with that Bronco. I loved that Bronco, man. I miss it. Bring it back into your primary, and you will make this random internet person a lot happier. At number 10, let's focus on the Red Hawks of Miami University, located in Oxford, Ohio. This is where Ben Roethlisberger went to college. Shout out, go Steelers. And yeah, of the single lettering kind of looks that we've seen so far, this is definitely one of the more interesting, because the font itself just really kind of pops out. The M kind of has these little like wing tips up at the top, which is kind of like a subtle nod to the team name being the Red Hawks. And this just kind of gives like a boldness to it. I don't know if it's the color, because that, you know, that deep red does really kind of pop and shine, but that presence, that toughness to it that it brings, you know, for being like a single letter, it does have like an energy and a presence to it. It's sharp and angular angular and jagged, especially like we mentioned with those wingtips on top. And so if you're going to have like a single letter to represent your team, I mean, this is the way you do it. This actually looks really, really nice. Having like a big prominent M is something that they focused on for quite a while, but it took until 1992 where they kind of added those angles, added that sharpness to it, and kind of the rest is history. Like, I love this font that they're using here. I think it looks awesome. So for as simple as this is with a big, bright red M, I mean, Miami's doing it quite well. And I would say the same is true at our number 9 pick, the Central Michigan Chippewas. Just this single letter here actually has done pretty well. I mean, this has a flow to it, you know, with those lines behind it and the fact that it's kind of italicized and underlined. It's like this C is going somewhere. It's getting here quick. I love this Central Michigan logo. Like, chips up. This looks awesome. Weirdly, this school I couldn't find a ton of like old logos for. I mean, they used on their football helmets for a while. They were kind of using the spear, and then they switched to this kind of like triple letter stack to the CMU for Central Michigan. And I think that looks pretty cool too, but just kind of strip that down and simplify it into just this like single C for Central. I mean, we saw the same big E for Eastern, big W for Western, and now a big C for Central Michigan. Like, of the Michigan directional schools, I think Central's doing it the best here. I love the flow and the energy on this logo. All in all, like we said with Miami, just doing a lot with just a simple letter. And yeah, this is knocking it out of the park. I love Central Michigan. At number 8, let's look at Bowling Green State University, home of the Falcons in Bowling Green, Ohio. With a really unique color combination of brown and orange, not a lot of teams kind of pull this off, especially with a white that's in there. But Bowling Green does it, and they do it pretty well. I actually really wanted this logo to be higher personally. I think that this has so much potential to be something incredible, but the Falcon itself kind of distracts me. It looks like just a little too abstract, like an abstract piece of art, where I just don't feel that he has like any kind of like aggression or really kind of any characteristic to it at all. It's kind of hard to tell that that's like a falcon that you're looking at. It just doesn't feel very fleshed out very well. Unlike the BG for the Bowling Green, I think those letters look awesome. They also have these really cool serifs on them that are kind of rounded and pointed to kind of add a little bit of edginess, and I want this to be better than it is because the falcon popping out of the BG should be this perfect all-encompassing piece where we have the BG for Bowling Green and the Falcon to represent that they're the Falcons. But as it is, I mean, this the way that falcon looks really kind of brings this down for me because I just don't think it has like really any personality to it whatsoever. Unlike some of these other logos that we're going to talk about where we can see the mascot for the team, I think those just have better personality. This falcon really doesn't do anything for me. This could be actually our number 1 pick if they could kind of clean up the falcon and make it more exciting and interesting. And I kind of think this logo would be stronger without it if we just had that BG to focus on. So Bowling Green, you've got something there. This has potential to be incredible as it is. It's just kind of in the middle of the pack here. At number 7, let's take a look at Akron, home of the Zips. And this is going to be the last logo that we're looking at today that just has a single letter to represent the team, a big A for Akron. But man, I love the motion on this. This thing is so cool with its coloring, the navy and the kind of like gold outline on it. This sort of reaches like a perfect balance to me of looking like something that could be like really old, historic academia looking letter with like a modern twist with kind of being a little bit more angular and jagged, but at the same time having this real strong, bold presence to it like we discussed with Miami. Now, I do think it would be a better idea to have a little bit more incorporation of their mascot. They're the Zip, so it's like a kangaroo thing, and they've used that historically. They've kind of had moments where their primary logo did have the kangaroo, and I love it. I mean, kangaroo is just such a fun mascot to have. But I mean, if they're just going to focus on like a single letter, A for Akron, if you're going to do it, this is the way to do it. I love the way this looks. A very unique, cool looking font, and I'm a huge fan of this. This to me is the best single letter primary logo in the MAC. Going forward, everything we're going to see is going to include the mascot in some way or another, including number 6, the Ohio Bobcats. Now, I think this logo is sick. I've always loved just how bright and bold that green is for Ohio in the background, and then having like the Bobcat pop out in front. You know, when we ranked Conference USA, we had Florida International quite high that had a similar energy like this, where they had the name of the school up top and then like the mascot. In that case, it was a panther just popping out down below with all this like aggressive energy and ferociousness to it. Like that Bobcat brings it. Like, he's got personality. He looks mean and tough. And this logo as a whole just has this perfect combo of like highlighting the name, the mascot, you know, the team colors in there, the coloring on this thing overall, man. The Ohio Bobcats are absolutely just killing it with this logo. Huge fan, as I am as well with our number 5 pick, the Ball State Cardinals. This logo is definitely designed in a really unique way with the 3 points that are like sharp and jagged up at the top of his head that have this like layered stacked effect as well as you kind of go down from right to left. It's like each point kind of falls underneath the point above it. And it adds this depth to this logo where you can actually kind of feel it sort of popping out at you a little bit in that regard. And then it has all these leading lines that kind of come down in this top left to bottom right look that add to this effect that this bird is just swooping down and swooping in on you. And I love how prominent his eye is as well. Like, it really pops out, and it's like right in the middle, right in the center of this logo. So it's kind of like the first thing you see is his real intense energy from his eye and his beak, and then the points on the top of his head. It's got this like full package thing that just works for me. Like, Ball State does not get the love and the attention and the appreciation that it deserves, because I mean, this thing is a beauty. They used to have a more kind of like cartoony approach to this cardinal, but they switched it up in 1990. They've been using this logo for about 35 years now at this point, and I hope they never change it. This looks awesome.
Switching to Ball State men's tennis, it seems every week they have a player, and boom goes the dynamite.
At number 4, let's talk about Buffalo. This is home of the Bulls, who use probably like the toughest, meanest looking logo in the MAC here. Like, the personality on that bull really shines through. The only thing that this logo is giving you to look at is this mean, pissed off bull. And to me, this works. Like, this is about as ferocious as it gets. This gives me kind of similar energy of like the Chicago Bulls, mostly in the way that we can just see this bull like kind of head on with the horns and the ears. Just the way they have this oriented kind of popping out at you gives me that same energy. And I mean, look, that is a timeless logo. The Chicago Bulls, absolutely timeless. And I think the Buffalo Bulls kind of been workshopping their logo a little bit, so we see like some pretty interesting looks in the past. So it kind of took them a while to kind of figure out what they wanted to like hone in on. Blue and white, just two simple colors, and that blue is so prominent, it just really pops out at you. I love the symmetry, I love the color, I love the aggression. Everything great to say about this. And if you like really aggressive, pissed off looking logos, I think you're gonna really like our next pick too. At number 3, Kent State University. This is home of the Golden Flashes, and what we can see right here is just, I mean, a golden flash. There he is. Really pissed off looking bird kind of creature who's got like a lightning body and almost looks like, you could argue, with like a lightning shaped bill as well. The whole thing, the way that it just is curved around this giant blue for Kent. And then we see a nice little lightning bolt separating the words Kent and State below that as well, just to kind of like add a little emphasis and an exclamation point to this logo that we know we're looking at the Golden Flashes, man. There's a lot of lightning in this thing. And yeah, what an electric logo. I like that look. They kind of added that more in recent years, but they knew what they were doing when they created this logo, as far as like making something that was intense, aggressive, literally an electric logo. That works for me in every single way. I love looking at this logo. And yeah, Kent State, can't say enough about how sick this logo is. But at number 2, let's go ahead and take a look at the Toledo Rockets. Toledo definitely has one of the coolest mascots, or one of the coolest names in all of college athletics. I mean, this is the Rockets, man. What a sick name. And historically, they've leaned into that a lot, you know, kind of having like rocket imagery, or just kind of focusing on like UT for Toledo, always with that great color combination of blue and yellow, and they got a lot of white in there too. Like, Toledo has always just knocked it out of the park. And so that's what we can see in the primary logo here. I mean, the font for Toledo is just, it's kind of fun and silly to look at, but the rocket that's popping out from behind it tells us everything we need to know. We're looking at Toledo, we can see a rocket. This is home of the Toledo Rockets, and that rocket is just like a perfect symbol of like a weapon, like what you're using to like threaten the other team with. I mean, literally, Toledo has a rocket that points at Bowling Green State University, like right outside their football stadium. It's helpful to know that like Bowling Green is their biggest rival, but I mean, there's a rocket pointed at Bowling Green's football stadium. Like, it doesn't get any more badass than that, truth be told. I mean, this rocket imagery, it's beyond cool. This is one of the few teams that we've talked about on this channel that doesn't have like a creature or animal aspect to it. This is like a proper weapon, and what they're able to do with that and use with that from a marketing standpoint and from like a branding aspect. I mean, yeah, Toledo, it doesn't get much better than this. But for our number 1 pick, I had to go with the NIU Huskies of Northern Illinois. Now, for me, I just love the kind of full package of this logo, in that everything is kind of in this like singular elemental piece with this beautiful yet fierce husky popping out of this NIU for Northern Illinois, and then the team name down at the bottom with Huskies. We just see it all in this one piece where everything just fits together really nicely, showcasing the team name, the team mascot, and then the colors as well, with the black, white, red, and gray. It just shows it all off in this nice, like tied together with a bow, singular logo here, where every piece of this primary logo is just doing its job perfectly. This thing is gorgeous, gorgeous logo. The characterization of that husky, it just feels unmatched, and it always kind of has. They've used some great logos over the past. A very sleek, modern looking logo that has like a timeless appeal to it. Yeah, NIU absolutely killing it, as are all of these logos in the MAC. Again, this is one of my all-time favorite college football conferences, and I was really excited to put this one together. So if you guys enjoyed, please go ahead and give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below. Let me know which teams and logos are your favorite in the MAC. I would love to hear your guys' opinion on this, and I appreciate you clicking and tuning in, and look forward to catching you in the next video. Yeah, welcome UMass to the MAC. Crazy timing on putting this video out, guys. Thanks so much. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.